So, okay, so they somebody signed up and they're building their listing, and they figured out where the whole thing is, and then they got themselves up to speed. So what else can they do?
One thing I think that makes sense as far as being proactive is you want to be, presumably, if you're an active seller, you're in your account every day. One place that you need to go every single day is not just your account dashboard. And that's where most sellers go, and a lot of them call it good. It's like, oh, I looked at my account health dashboard and I'm fine. It's like checking your speedometer. But I'm going to tell you, don't forget to check your gas gauge. If you run out of gas, what happens? You're smoked. You're sitting there on the side of the road.
Sure.
But the maybe somewhat similar in your account is your performance notifications. I've been, on the phone with somebody, and I'm walking them through where to go in their account, and they're like, "Oh, where's that?" They've never even been to their performance notifications before. And it's like, you want to be in your account health dashboard, and you want to be in your performance notifications every
Oh, we
day.
have another guest.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you need attention? Hmm. Anyway, you don't want to forget to be in your performance notifications every day. And a lot of the time, you can go into your account health dashboard and it won't tell you exactly what the problem is, right? You got to go to performance notifications, like you were saying earlier, in order to have the exact policy that gets cited, or to find the real problem behind the reason why you received the warning. Sometimes it won't tell you there either, but at least you should go there every day. Sometimes you got to go into your emails, right? The only way that you know about some kind of issue or warning or notification is in your email, and it doesn't even show up in your performance notifications. So that's important to keep in mind. And you should also, go ahead and take the opportunity, like pause the replay of this right now, go into your account and check your notification settings and make sure that you're sending notifications from Amazon to an email that you check on a regular basis.
Well,
You don't want it, and you don't want those notifications commingled with all kinds of other notifications that you're getting where you won't see it.
well, this is the reason why I like talking to people who have been around. So you're going through things that are so easy to implement, but
Yes.
neglected a lot of the times, and you're just hitting them. And the reason why I say this is this particular seller. Guess how we found out that their listing was removed? So here I am building the listing with them, and then we are using the flat files to create, and then something happens and it goes away. Something happens and as we've done it like twice, and then I thought, okay, let's give it some time, take a break, and come back tomorrow. So what happens the following day? We are all together, and of course, I taught them enough to say that, look, your primary user email, do not share it with other people, keep it to yourself. So the first thing I do is I get them to create usually an email called Amazon at whatever your domain. So I say to them, only use this username when you are logging in purposely for things that are sensitive. Otherwise, create another username for yourself and then give yourself all the permissions if you want, but just don't use the primary user.
You might be the first person I've ever heard talk about that besides me. And I applaud you for that. I think it's super important. The best practices that you just suggested are something that, everybody should put the podcast on pause right now and change those things right now. You should not be sharing the primary login to your Amazon account with anybody, not your wife, not your business partner, not your best friend, no employees. We could go into that for the next 15 minutes talking about best practices for what to do as far as how to set up your primary user account. And when people come and they hire me, the first thing I want to do is give me account access. It's like, well, I don't want account access. I don't need it. And especially you don't want to give me your primary login. Don't give that to anybody.
Scott, so this can easily get you suspended on its own. So
absolutely.
So this is what I say to people. So now that, thank you for bringing it up. To me, this is like, I'm so afraid of getting suspended because of these easy situations. So I say this, do not share your primary username with somebody else because
Anyone.
of the following reasons. Number one, Amazon does not know who you are. The only thing that they know is the information you're submitting. And as far as they are concerned, the information you're submitting, first and foremost, is your email address. So to them, when you create an account with an email address, that email address is the owner of the account. That means you're calling the shots. You know everything about the company. You're making the decisions. Now, if you go share it with somebody else and somebody else logs in with the same email, they think that it's still the same person and they are doing XYZ. Now, but in fact, it was somebody else.
Now, not only do you not share that, don't share it with anybody else, don't use it for anything else. Don't use that same email for doing your buying if you're RAOA. Don't use that same email if you're wholesale. Don't use that same email if you're private label. That's not the primary contact for anyone else other than you and Amazon.
Yeah. So now, point number two. At this point, $1 trillion company that is large enough that doesn't even blink when the entire US government comes after them. They have so much information with the kind of Prime membership they have. They have the home addresses, credit card numbers, blah, blah, blah. So in other words, just from that email address, they can put 2 and 2 together and then create a persona of who is this person who is using this email, the electronic footprints of your computer, your device, your IP address, so many other things that nobody knows. It's secret, that Amazon has a way of pinpointing exactly who they are dealing with. Now, when you share the primary email address, your primary username with somebody else, for the right reason, innocently, even though it's wrong, for the right reason, and that person one day goes out, and it could be years later, doesn't matter. That person goes out and says, oh, I've got a great product idea, and I'm going to create an Amazon account. And they go sign up for an Amazon account, and bang, they're going to be picked up and say, assuming they are operating double account. And Murphy's Law, if at that time this account, the first account, got in trouble, now it's going to look like somebody is trying to game the system where they got in trouble with one account and creating. I mean, these things happen all the time, and they're not going to say anything. Well, we have reason to believe you are operating multiple Amazon accounts. Now, can you not do that? Sure, you can, but you have to be upfront. You have to go to them and say, I want to open a second account. There is nothing worse than you innocently doing something and wanting to do something. You've got a business idea, and because of something bad happened or bad you did without knowing, is going to get in the way. So that's why I say, do not share it with anybody. And now, what I was going to say was, I get everybody to create a username called Amazon at whatever their domain. And I tell them, look, this cannot be a forward email. This has to be a functioning email where you should be able to email back from as the sender, because that's what Amazon is going to look at. So, in other words, it cannot be an alias. It has to be a real mailbox. So, now what they did, they followed everything I said. They created an email address. They did everything. And because it's a new email address, they never checked it. Of course, as a brand new seller, they don't go looking at performance or anything like that. So here we are trying to figure out what's going on. And all along, they kept getting emails. So when I said, we better check this, can you log in? And he started logging with his primary. I said, why are you logging with your primary? And he said, oh, okay, let me check. And in the meantime, he must have done something and said, oh, I have emails here.